Recording good audio with the Rode Wireless Go 2 has been probably one of the easiest and best ways to do so. And as I'll get to, a lot of other manufacturers are also basically doing the same exact thing that this is doing. One thing I've noticed though is if you want to record using the internal microphone and you want to attach it to a collar, if you tend to move around a lot like I do, if you ever lean forward, it can actually cause it to go inverted. But a little electric tape fold in on itself like that can actually go a long way to helping it stay attached. Simple tricks are usually the most effective. But hey, my name's Paul. I'm a tech reviewer. I'm also a videographer. I do a lot of weddings, events, and commercial work. And if you're interested in how I pack everything and what I pack into one bag, this will be a cool video for you. As well as I'll tell you about some of the upcoming cool gear that I'm gonna be reviewing both on this channel and on makeuseof.com. In this video, I wanna kind of introduce a new series that I've been thinking about for a long time. I recently came back from a wedding shoot, and one of the questions I got from someone who's also a videographer there is like, hey, cool backpack, what do you actually put in it? And I've seen these videos put out by basically everyone. If you follow any kind of content creator, there's always like a what's in my bag. And I myself have wanted to do that in the past, but I always thought, hey, this is a smaller channel. Not a lot of people know me. Not a lot of people know what I do. So there isn't going to be as much interest to do it. You tend to overthink before you actually create, and you either overthink the idea or the concept or the execution to the point that you're actually not putting anything out. So with this new series, I kind of want it to be a little bit more casual, and I can kind of talk about these other more fun and kind of less focused topics, such as, hey, this is kind of the main stuff I have in my camera bag, as well as here are the upcoming product reviews and other topics that I'm going to be talking about in larger, more in-depth videos if you want to check those out later. So I'll actually start with that. If you don't know, I also make tech reviews on another tech channel called makeuseof.com, which is a tech publication site, kind of like Engadget. And these are some of the other products that between my channel and that channel, I'll also be reviewing. And so we've actually got a lot of products by Rode. Rode, like I said, has been one of the best audio brands that I've tested out and reviewed. I've done lots of comparisons to their products between a lot of these other ones that are trying to be like them. So the HollyView is one of the newer ones that is going to try to make a name for itself. Just even looking at the box, it looks so similar. So we'll see how that compares. Additionally, I help produce a podcast for Mia and her friend Bree, and you've seen some clips thrown here and there in my reviews of the Rode products and other audio products where I kind of test them in a real world situation with that podcast. So we're gonna be testing out the NT USB Mini by Rode, and one of the cool things about this, it has a lot of the same features as the Rodecaster Pro, but using, I think, your smartphone, you can actually get a lot of those settings without needing that big, expensive device, just using their Rode Central app. So that's upcoming product reviews if you're interested in checking those out. One of the other things that I wanted to mention, the need and the importance for power banks. A lot of the shoots I do are on the go, and I don't have the ability to charge up my gear, or I don't really want to stop and actually switch out batteries. One, you have to make sure those batteries are charged, and you have to have a lot of them, especially with cameras like Sony. Even with the a7S III, it goes through batteries relatively quickly. So I usually carry around power banks like this. This is one of the first ones I bought when I first got into videography. This is maybe like 4 years old now, maybe even 5 or 6. It's held up for a while. This is only 6,800 milliamps, but right now it's barely getting a half a charge for a device. And when you've got it connected to like an iPhone 12 or whatever, and I think they've got batteries less than 3,000 milliamps, something that is technically more than double its capacity isn't even giving you half a charge there, you know this is time to change it out. And you can also see where I've taped it around because it's taken a couple beatings. So we now get to the bag of what I have here. And one of the first things in this top compartment outside, first off, this is the Endurax backpack. I don't remember what the model name is. I'm not sure if it even has a model name. This was sent to me. I've done a couple things with Endurax before. I'm actually gonna be making a product commercial for them, for them to use for their promotional marketing and stuff like that. So that's actually cool to be doing that. But even though this was sent to me and I didn't pay for it, one of the things I can actually say is this is now my favorite bag to use for shoots like doing weddings and whenever I'm doing any other commercial work where I need to bring at least one camera, my gimbal, and some other gear, some of the essential gear. This is the one bag I can rely on most. And I'll tell you why. From the outside, we've got a very this large, non-divided pocket. I wish it was divided. I might come up with a way to divide it, but I'm fitting a lot in here. I have my Falconized F7 Mini, light with its diffuser. I have my new power bank, which is what led us to it from the last point. But it's at, what is it at? It's at 61%. So I was basically, I did a 5-hour wedding with this mostly tethered and attached to my Sony a7S III for the entire day. And it kept that at basically 100%. This is the RAV Power 15,000 milliamp, and it's a 30-watt fast charger power bank that has USB-C as well as USB Type A to charge all my devices for the entire day. And while there are larger capacity batteries, I thought this was a good compromise between size and portability because it can easily fit in my backpack, in a pocket. Having fast charging on this means I'm not depleting any of the battery from the camera at all. I don't have to worry about that. And in the case where I need to top off any of my other gear really quickly, it has the ability to do so. So that has been a great thing. I always have a USB-C to Type-C cable attached, and I usually have an additional USB Type-C on the main end, and it has a USB-A adapter for it. And then on this end, which is USB-C, you have 2 additional adapters, Lightning and micro USB. So whether it's my phone or the Sony a7S II, which is the other camera I have, I'm able to charge them just with one cable, and it still supports fast charging as well as data transfer too. So if you get one of these wires, and it's actually not very common to find online. I think I found only 1 or maybe 2 other brands that have something that's this similar. The cable itself goes for about like $9, which is a little expensive for just a single cable, but when you think about it, it's one cable that you can rely on to charge all your devices no matter what. So it's a good emergency cable. It's a good cable to always have on you. Oh, I have 2 other things. So I have an additional USB-C standalone. This might have been originally for my iPad or something, but it supports fast charging, not nearly as fast as this, I don't think. It's quick enough to charge a lot of my other devices when I need to or have the ability to plug into a wall and leave the device charging there for a while and run the essential stuff just off the power bank. The last thing I have in here, and this is actually one of the main reasons I really like this backpack, is because it has the ability to hold my Ronin. Am I using the RS2 or the S2? Whichever one is the bigger one with a higher payload. I got that with the Raven Eye system. But I was shooting for, I basically had my camera on this the whole day, and it's barely gotten through 1 level of power from this, however much percentage that is, maybe like 20, 25%. So I keep the handle in the battery portion here, and I can actually have it at the top hidden in here. No other bag of mine has had the ability to as easily hold my gimbal. Again, one of the compartments that I was most surprised with, and the one I was at first thinking, I don't really know how I can properly fill this up with gear securely and not feel like it's just all thrown in there, is this top portion here. So you can see when it's not tightened down, it can get really big. If you needed the extra space, you have the ability to do so. But in my case, I realized I don't actually need to put the Ronin in its case anymore because it just fits in this top portion. This is all I have in here. It's secure, and because it has this drawstring at the top here, it gets very tight, and I feel this is very snug and well protected. From the side here, you should be able to see where it's got the quick, easy pocket. This is actually one of the few bags that I have that have this side pocket. But what's incredible about it is that with my Sony a7S III, which is filming us right now with the 24-70 Sigma, it fits in this portion really easily. On the side pocket here, I'll either have a water bottle or I'll have the actual feet and extended arm for the Ronin's handle. Essentially everything I shoot now for weddings and client videos is always on a gimbal. When it comes to me shooting, the main thing for me is having all my gear in one place now, so I don't need 2 bags, so I've eliminated the need for that, as well as the ability to just quickly pull this out, put the handle, which again was either on the side or in that top compartment there, attach it. As we switch to this side, it's attached to my monopod, which has its own feet. I attach that. And generally, I only have to do this once for the entire event because, like I said, I'm holding this all the time. This is actually a very nice monopod from Neewer that I highly recommend. The only thing I would recommend switching out are the feet here. It, even when fully tightened down, it just wobbles a little bit too much that I don't like it. And I would never leave the gimbal with the camera on this unattended. I always have my hand attached to it because this can easily tip over and lean just because it's very top heavy, and these feet are very narrow. So you can actually get some bigger feet. I think they go for like 20 bucks on their own. So I don't really think they're a bargain necessarily, but used correctly in conjunction with this, it's a very powerful system. I don't even carry tripods anymore. This, if I need more of a locked off shot, the Ronin with the camera is at the top, and this extends very high up. This allows me to get a locked off shot when I need to. With the style I usually shoot, where I'm getting multiple angles, I'm jumping from side to side, this allows me to do so very easily because it's light, it's compact, it's quick to set up as well. Very importantly, it's quick to tear down when I need to. We've already got some very large, important pieces of gear, and we haven't even gotten to our cameras yet, although we did mention the Sony. On the side here as well is another light. This is the Falcon Eyes Oriso 1. And I reviewed this very recently. I talked about how just using this one light, it's very powerful. You can get a lot of use out of the one light. It's got a lot of cool modes. And before I got these other two lights kind of situated, I still need to work on them. In a lot of my past videos, this, aside from my background lights, was my main key light. Additionally, and I forgot to mention it for this, but similar to my camera and most of my other gear, including the Ronin, USB-C quick charging is compatible with them. That is kind of like a must-have for all my future gear. Essentially, the only thing that isn't right now is my Sony a7S II, being that it's older and I got a relatively good deal on it, and I thought it would pair well with the Sony a7S III. I was willing to forego some of the limitations that it does have, and it does have a couple others in addition to that. The biggest one probably, its autofocus is not very good. But speaking of that a7S II, here is the inside of the bag once you unzip it, and the zippers go all the way around. The zippers are actually really good on here. You have one other pocket here, again, not separated, but it holds a couple other things, including some USB-C wires, additional bag dividers. This is a very handy case in which I keep all my additional SD cards. If I ever run out of an SD card, it breaks, it corrupts, whatever reason, I have backup SD cards in here. I have a couple lens cleaners. And speaking of zippers or attachments, this actually broke off. This was a holder for my AirTag. I got the 4-pack of the AirTags. I can't highly recommend them enough if you use a lot of camera gear, electronics. The next thing I have in here is a USB 3.0 Lightning and USB-C card reader for both full-size SD cards as well as micro SD cards too. Always great to have on you in case you need to quickly review your footage. Typically, I only ever really use it if I'm on a longer trip that's multiple days, where I need to access my footage on my computer or whatever. But now we're into kind of like the main compartment here of the bag. We've got some other interior side pockets. And being that this is going to be touching the a7S III, I probably will never need it. One of the cool things about this is they've made it pretty easy as far as adjusting the internal dividers. In my case here, I kind of have it in a 3-divisioned setup on the right-hand side, where I have my one additional other lens that I usually carry with me, and this is the 16-35 Sony full-frame lens. Even when I was using the Sony a6100, all my lenses were full-frame. The two APS-C lenses that came with the kit, and I bought that kit. If you heard the math video that I explained it, I basically bought that kit knowing that I could easily flip the 2 additional lenses there, and I actually made a profit on the a6100 too when I sold that as well. We have the a7S II here with the 50mm f1.8. This is a great lens. It's beautiful. It produces great bokeh, but even on the a7S III, it has very poor pulsing. So combined with the a7S II's very bad autofocus, I really only have this system in manual focus for the most part when I'm shooting. At the bottom here, this is where I'll typically keep like an additional tripod mount adapter. I'll usually really only use this for my slider, which is in the middle here, and it allows me to easily get some cinematic slides with very quick and minimal setups. Speaking of slider, this is one of the few reliable, actually good sliders that's this size, can carry a heavy camera like the A7S III with a Sigma 24-70, has very long battery life, and has a relatively decent and quick pairing smartphone app if you need it. Make sure you're still recording. I mean, the fact that I can just turn this on and get audio recording without needing to press any buttons, I just know it's recording, is a game changer. I mean, I say this about every piece of gear I have, but it's true. Like, I usually pick or only decide to review pieces of gear that I think are dramatically gonna change or help the way I shoot. All my pieces of gear, like this is one of the smallest LED RGB lights that has USB-C, a long battery life, connects to an app if I need it to, has all the modes I need it to, has the magnetic attachments at the back. This is larger, but still very thin and compact. It's not too heavy. USB-C charging, long battery life. For example, this, we'll have to see, like, is it dramatically different? Does it actually introduce like any new features that make it actually worthy contender to the Rode? So yeah, that's probably a good place to wrap today's video up. I can guarantee you I went on for a long time. If you reached this point, thank you. And if you haven't, well, you won't hear this. You don't need to overthink videos. You know, sometimes the best thing is putting it out. And with this style of video as well, I think one of the best things is it allows me to talk about some important aspects as far as like, how do I shoot? Why do I choose the gear that I shoot with? So that's my pitch for you to either subscribe if you're new or stay tuned for those videos and check them out when they come out. Thanks again for tuning into this video. Like I said, if you're new, be sure to subscribe, and until the next one,